All right, y'all. So I'm going to try and talk you through how to make your site. So as you see, I've made an interactive folder and I've started building all my HTML pages in that folder, just like so that I'll be able to dump it all onto my MEDP folder very easily. Here's my mind map I made. I went through and for each little chunk, I went ahead and named the HTML pages that I would be building. As you can see, I've built them here, but I have one left I have to build. I have to build this guy. Let's see. I've got my index page and I've got my sleep page and my trash page. Yep, and my pound page. All my pages except for one, and that's what I'm going to build with you guys right now. Once you build one of these, you can kind of use it as the template for all the other ones. So right now we're going to build snug.html. So I'm going to go back to Sublime. I'm just going to copy one of the ones I already have, make a new one, paste it all in, go through and change the things that I want to change, the title. Yep, that text right there. Oh, I also wanted to point out here, this is something you can add to your meta data up at the top that will help your browser fit better. And I also have installed a custom font for this. And if you want to know more about that, you can Google search it. We'll also go over it later. Okay, so I'm going to change some of the actual text that's on the page, but I'm going to keep a lot of the formatting because by and large, I'm using the same kind of look across the different pages. So here's me doing that, blah, blah, blah. I don't need any of that since this is an end page. This is a the end page. Okay, now I'm going to save it. I'm going to save it as snugs.html. I'd already made one, but I'm making a new one to show you. Yeah, replace it. Okay, so now I have all my HTML pages built. I have the bones, right? But we're going to go look at this Snugs page and I ain't no pictures or nothing. I mean, there's my custom font. That looks cool, right? But now we want to go through and we want to make a cute picture for it. So I'm going to make a background using a couch, and then I'm going to draw one of my dogs on top of it. So I'm going to go to the image bar in Google, and if you go to the settings, go to advanced search, all the way down at the bottom, you can look for things based on usage rights. So this is what I was talking about with Creative Commons and Wikimedia Commons. And I think I'll use this picture here. I'm going to go to the information on the page, scroll down to it. There it is. And you'll look here, it says it's in the public domain. Yippee dang, that's awesome. Okay, so now I'm going to add that to my running list of images I've used on my page so that I can build my credits page at the end. And then I'm going to save this image and I'm going to bring it into Illustrator and I'm going to put one of my dogs on top of it that I've already drawn. See, you can see some of the other ones I've already made. All right, so I'll use this Buddy, sleepy dog. And I've been making my pages bigger than they need to be and then sizing them down when I export. I would say 1,000, anywhere between 800 and 1,000 wide is probably plenty good enough. But I'll go ahead and try and make this image bigger. And then I'll plop my dog down on top of it. Okay, now he is transparent, so I'm going to have to do a couple of things here. So I'm just going to, go through this because this is what I had to do, and this is the kind of stuff you guys have to do. Each time you have to kind of mess around with it. So I made this using a watercolor brush, but the brush itself, once I rescale my dog, is too big. So I have to kind of futz with it a little bit. It then kind of turned my brush white, and so I had to go back and do all kinds of things. So you know, you can fast forward through some of this if you want, but this is how this goes, man. You know, you start designing something and you've just got to keep tweaking with it until until you get it right. So I made a background shape behind what I'd already drawn just because that was kind of the fastest, easiest way to do it. So I made this white ellipse and then decided that I would take that and add a bunch of points to it using the pen tool and kind of make it to the shape of the dog I'd already drawn and have that kind of be the opaque background to his body. Make sure my background fits completely in the frame of the thing I've drawn because it's not so easy to crop in Illustrator as it is in Photoshop. So I might as well just make it all fit in the frame we made in the first place. And yeah. Great. Okay, so now I'm going to export. I'm going to save for web. I'm going to bring this down in size to 1,000 pixels wide. Most web browsers are about 980. I mean, these days a lot are bigger, but you know, for our sake, that's good enough. I'm going to save it as the name of the image I've already kind of planned for it to be called based on the page name when I built my pages. And once it's saved, I'm going to make sure it goes into my interactive folder in the images folder, right? And you'll notice I've got an audio folder and I've got an images folder. All right, so now I've replaced the image, or I've put an image in there based on the name of what I want to be the background of my picture of my web page. And let's see whether it works. Get rid of this. Yeah, okay. So it's starting to work. I mean, my text is kind of hard to read against this background, and I want my the end, if at all possible, to go in the center at the bottom of the page. So I'm going to go back to my text editor, go back to that HTML page, and I'm going to tinker with some of the CSS I have here. So you'll see I've got the yes there as a paragraph tag, but I'm going to switch it to a header 2. That'll make it bigger automatically. I'm also in the CSS up here. I'm going to change the color to white. Let's see what that does for us. Okay, well, it's bigger, it's whiter, but let's add a text shadow to it. And because I don't remember how, which is totally normal, I'm going to look up in Google. Go to W3 Schools, which we've looked at several times now, and where you can find anything you're trying to do. Okay, so that's how I would add the text shadow. So, okay. And I know that that's a different color than I want, so I'm going to switch it to black. We'll go back and look at it again. You can hit Command R to refresh the page. Okay. Yeah, you know, I mean, it's not perfect, but it's getting there. So now what I'm going to do is because I want the end to go at the bottom of the page, I'm going to make a little container for it so that it's separate from the rest of the text. And I'm giving it an ID called end so that up in the CSS, I can target that specifically. I don't need these. Those are for my other pages, so I'm going to ditch that. But right here, I'm going to make a hashtag, and then I'm going to write end. And that will tell the CSS, hey, I'm trying to make this part of the text do something different. I want it to sit towards the bottom of the page, okay? And here's where I have to just kind of remember this stuff. And this is where the Google will be your best friend. If you're trying to do any one of these things, like put something at the bottom or center it or give it a drop shadow or any of that, you're going to go to Google and you're going to ask. It's just the facts. And Stack Overflow can be useful, but sometimes it's a bit too much information. Let's try that. Position fixed, bottom 0. That sounds about right. Let's see what that does for us. All right, save, refresh. Okay. Well, moved it to the bottom, but it put it to the left, not in the center. Let me see if I can get it to go in the center. I think that would be, yeah, width, 50%. Nope, I'm not buying it. All right, let's see what that did. Okay. Well, it's getting it closer to the center. What happens? And this is where you just kind of mess around. See what that does. Okay, if we get rid of position fixed, then we lose it altogether. So we want to put it back. Okay, so I like that it stays close to the bottom. I just wish it was centered. I'll get over it if that can't be true, but you know, it's fine. All right, getting closer. All right, I'll take it. Okay, so I would say this page is done. So now I've got all my pages, right? Except for my credits page. So I've saved all my credits already into a Word document, so I know what I'm crediting. So now I'm just going to open my index page, copy all of that, and make a new page, and I'm going to call it Credits. And it can be really simple. It just needs to be text, so I can strip out a lot of this CSS I've built for the other pages. Strip out all this text and just make a header, and then put in a bunch of links to where I got these images from. Including who made them. So I'm going to have to go back to the pages that that I found them, to the links, and see the names of the people. So this guy, for instance, he's whatever his name is, Alex Chaffee. Okay, I'm going to do this for all of them. All right, so I've got all my links and all my names and all the people who need attributed. So now I'm going to call this credits HTML, and I'm going to add it to my interactive folder that I will eventually be dumping onto my server. So now I'm going to put my credits page. I'm actually going to make it the hyperlink for the end on the 3 different endings of my story, or whatever the last pages of your story, how many of those there are. Go ahead and make the credits the link, you know, at the end. Add them at the end of those pages. So I'm going to make the end a hyperlink. And because I've done some other formatting to hyperlinks up until this point, it's going to make them look like they do on the other pages because I did that in the CSS. So I'm going to take that out. Let's see, I'm going to leave the font family, but I'm going to get rid of the border and the background and the color and the padding. And I made it so that the hyperlinks weren't underlined. I'm going to trash all of that. And then I go look at my credits page and I forget that there's still a bunch of CSS that I don't need there. Like I don't need a background image. I don't need all of my links to all of my credits to have all of the CSS that I've done on the other pages, like having a background and having a border and having a padding. So I'm going to ditch all of that. And then I thought about putting breaks between each one, and then I decided that I would show you guys how to make an unordered list. So an unordered list is a way to make bullet points, basically. And so you start by doing a UL, and then for each line item of the list, you put an LI at the beginning and a closed LI at the end. And then you close it off by doing an unordered list close. Oops, I didn't finish it. What did I not do? close that one. And you see it gives you bullet points next to them, and there are ways to take that off if you want, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. Okay. I forgot to close my unordered list. It's still working, which I'm surprised about, but there are all my links. They're working, la-di-da. Hooray, hooray. Life is good. There's my credits page. Okay. And I can tell that I haven't closed my unordered list because that body tag, that closing body tag is white. Okay, there we go. All right, copacetic. Okay, so now let's give the whole bad boy a little test drive, shall we? Yeah, we could save that. I'm going to go to my index page. I'm going to open it with Firefox. Okay, there's my home. There's my home page. You as a dog. Congrats to you. Do you want to go on a walk or do you want to sleep all day? Yeah, you can sleep, and then when you wake up, you can go through the trash or eat the cat. Oh, bummer. When you eat the cat, you get sit to the pound. Okay, so I need to add a credits page to that, the end right there. Let's remember that. Okay, and then you can go on a walk or snug mad hard on the couch. Okay, and when you snug mad hard, oh, what's up with that? Something's not working. Let's go back and check it. Let's see, which one is that one? That one's trash. When I came up with my name for my HTML page in the first place, I was going to call it Snug, and then I ended up calling it Snugs because, you know, that's cooler. So I changed that. Save it. Boom. Okay. I'm still not super happy with the fact that my the end won't go in the middle, but, you know, life is long and terrible. But there are my credits, and that's what matters. So now I'm going to add the end. I'm going to make it a hyperlink as well on my pound page, which is what a couple of the options are when you do bad things like eat the cat or bite another dog. You end up going to the pound. Once again, still got that same CSS that I applied universally across the other pages, so I've got to take that out. So I don't want it to have a border. I don't want it to have a background. Delete that. Okay, now I'm going to want to make it black, and I'm going to want to make it bigger. Make it black, la-di-da, cool, right, that's getting better. Let's see what happens if I do this. Oh, it comes this way. I'm going to go back. What if I go like this? There we go. Rock and roll McDonald's. Okay, so my pound pages have credits. Delightful. All right, so what else do we have to check here? We want to make sure you want to make sure you go through all the pages on your story and make sure they all work. Snug mad hard on the couch, go on a walk. When you listen to this page, you'll see I've embedded sound. As you'll remember, you can always option click if you're in Firefox or Chrome and inspect element or view source, and you can see how I embedded audio tags. It's also posted in the blog post from the week before spring break. Okay, so I've got my whole hot mess here, my whole interactive folder with all my delightful HTML files, my audio files. Let's get it on CyberDuck, shall we? And the first time I tried to do this, it didn't work, but then it did, which is kind of amazing. Boom, there you're in your sites folder. Go to MEDP150, boom. All right, now I don't have the same folder structure that you guys do because all the rest of my stuff got wiped, but I'm going to drag my interactive, I'm going to copy and paste my interactive folder onto my server. Hit allow. It'll show up there. Okay, delightful. There's all my stuff. Remember, the homepage of it has to be called index.html. So now, in theory, when I go here, MEDP150/interactive, I should pull up my page. I don't, because I learned in making this video that actually my version, my server is all screwy. But point being, you can now go to the link that's attached to this email, and you can look at my whole site that I built and use it as a template for how you continue to build yours. And I think that is it. I hope you guys have a great weekend. I hope you have fun with this, and I will see you next Wednesday.